We've all heard them. Phrases like instant success, become an overnight success. 12 months, same as cash. You won't incur any finance charges. Take this pill and it'll cure everything that ails you. Make millions, but you don't have to put any money down. Of course, my personal favorite, tastes great, less filling. Hey everybody, Jay Niblick here. Thanks for listening in, and let's take a little bit of journey, explore some brand new concepts I'm really excited about sharing with you, okay? What all these phrases have in common is that they all sound too good to be true. We've all learned the old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But I want to give you a brand new phrase, and one that's not really too good to be true, even though it sounds like it. Twice the performance, half the effort. Now, I'm going to show you in the rest of this video why this statement is not too good to be true. It's actually something that you can do. And I'm going to prove that to you right now. But first, let me tell you who I'm talking to so you know whether you want to continue to watch this video or not. This message is for all of those people out there who are feeling dissatisfied with their level of performance, who feel frustrated or stuck in their jobs, who basically lack passion and feel unfulfilled by what they do. And you're not alone if that's you. A recent Harris Interactive study of 23,000 people showed that 50% of them were dissatisfied with their jobs. Another study by the Conference Board showed similar numbers, about 45% feeling unfulfilled, and even a University of Chicago study showed 48% feel frustrated and dissatisfied. So 3 significant studies, all coming up somewhere between 45 and 50%. Basically half of everybody out there is dissatisfied, frustrated, feeling unfulfilled, and lacking passion in what they do. We have a problem. I mean, think about it. We have an entire world of people who constantly use phrases like, thank God it's Friday, hump day, I need a mental health day, or I've got the Monday morning blues. We've actually coined terms to capture the level of dissatisfaction that we have that's become so rampant and common. So, to find out why so many people were dissatisfied with what they did and how they did it, their performance, lack of passion, we started a research study 8 years ago, and we did a 7-year research study. We looked at 197,000 people from across 23 countries, and basically what we found were that top performers do that every day. And by that, I mean they achieve greater success with less effort. That's right. The statement that I just gave you, twice the performance with half the effort, that sounds like the other too good to be true statements, is actually not. The results of the research showed that the most successful people actually managed to avoid becoming one of those statistics and managed to somehow deliver twice the performance with half the effort. So here's what we found. After all those years, after all that time and all those people and all that daggum data that we crunched, we found 2 key traits that were shared only by the top performers in the study. Out of 197,000 of them, these 2 traits were the only 2 that showed up in the top performers. Those traits were self-awareness and authenticity. Now, let's explore those a little bit. Self-awareness is basically how aware you are of your natural mental talents based on how you think and make decisions. Now, your mental talents aren't just something that pop in and out on a monthly basis or you read a book and learn about. These are natural mental talents based on the way your mind is made, the neural networks that you possess. And they're not likely to change anytime in the near future. They're very fixed, okay? I don't want to say they're hardwired because they change over the course of your life, but they're pretty foundational to who you are and what you do. If you're 40 years old, they've been developing for the most part for 40 years, and they're not likely to change. So self-awareness means how well do you really know what your talents are, and almost more importantly, what your talents are not for, based on how you think and make decisions. The second trait that we found, we called authenticity. And authenticity basically means how well you incorporate your natural talents into what you do and how you do it. Now, again, like natural talents, authenticity is something that's developed over a long period of time, but you can affect change in it. Some people assume that if you have the natural talent, it's just going to be there. It's just going to show up. And while that may be true in what you do, how you go about doing it is not always authentic. The role that you take on may not line up well with your natural talents. The way you go about doing something, you pattern yourself after one manager, you do it the way that the book tells you to. Authenticity is really, really something that you have to struggle with and you have to work at. It doesn't just come effortlessly. So those are the two traits that we've talked about. Self-awareness, knowing what you're really good at, and authenticity. That is what the best performers have in common with each other and not what we found in almost everybody else. Let's take a look at the data. In the actual data, you'll see that we broke the people in the study, 197,000 people, into one of 5 levels of performance based on performance metrics gathered by our consultants from the corporations that these individuals worked for. And you can see self-awareness and authenticity grow significantly. There's a statistically significant difference between the different levels of performance here. And the lower the performance, we found these two traits to be lower. And the higher the performance, we found these two traits to be higher. So this is proven stuff, all right? Yes, it's proven in the study, but it's also proven in interviews I did to flesh it out, and I'll talk about those in a second. It's also proven through the work, anecdotally, through the 350 consultants we have who have worked with over 400,000, individuals around the world, okay? This is a known truth. We know it to be true from our own experience. Self-awareness and authenticity are absolute traits in peak performance, and when you get them, when you develop them, you are able to achieve twice the performance at half the effort. Now, to flesh this out, to bring it to life, to make the data real, give it a face, let it speak, I wanted to interview real people as well. So I interviewed people that I either knew, were friends of mine, or clients of mine. People like Anthony Robbins, a peak performance coach. People like Frances Hesselbein, who's the founding director of the Drucker Foundation and former CEO of Girl Scouts of America. Gary Titterton, the guy who led the management campaign for I Can't Believe It's Not Butter. Marshall Goldsmith is an executive coach to the Fortune 500 presidents and CEOs. Michael Lorelli was a former president himself in the Fortune 500, PepsiCo and Pizza Hut International. Guys like Randy Haken, who was the founding VP of Sales at Yahoo, and on, okay? We had world-class physicians from institutions like Harvard, and there were Olympians and Hollywood insiders. Hell, I even found an expert demolition guy, one of the top experts in demolition in the world. All of these people were hyper successful. They were all the absolute top at what they did. And so I interviewed them to get their personal take on what the data from the 197,000 was telling us. And guess what? They told us the exact same thing. They all had significantly higher levels of self-awareness and authenticity. They all told us that that was an important part of their life. And in every single case, not only did they achieve significant success again and again, but they all said that it didn't feel like that much effort. And let's hone in on that key there. It didn't feel like that much effort. They all felt like they got out more than they put in. That's a key. The less effort thing. The whole phrase we're talking about here is twice the performance, half the effort. Well, they all feel like they got out more than they put in. That's output over input. You see, a lot of people are backwards. A lot of people feel like they put in more effort than they get out in results. They're constantly struggling. Did you ever have that one class in school where no matter how hard you tried, you just never seemed to get it? Even if you did make the grade, it came really, really hard at a big cost. But then there were other classes, other courses you took, or other things in life in general, that you just got it. It just clicked. It just came to you. It was almost effortless in the way you did it. That's what we're talking about. When you understand your talents, and when you line them up with what you do and how well you do it, you get out more than you feel like you put in. Because when these people work from their natural talents, they're working from their strengths, not their weaknesses. Because they work from their natural talents, their passions are engaged. Because they're working from their natural talents, which they only know because they have better self-awareness and they're more true to them, their performance comes in a more natural way, but it does it with less effort. And don't get me wrong, this isn't to say that the best don't work hard, okay? That's just absolutely not true at all. In fact, they work very hard. One of the things that I take issue with is a good guy named Malcolm Gladwell. I love his work. His books are wonderful. But his recent book, Outliers, argues that talent is overrated. And he says it's about the amount of hours that you work. And he talks about 10,000 hours being the key. And the single difference that makes people who are great successes stand out from those that aren't is that they just worked harder. My belief is this, though, based on what we see in our study and based on what we know to be true from those 400,000 people we've worked with, is that it's impossible for somebody to work those 10,000 hours if they're not lining up their natural talents. It's the natural talents that allows them to work that hard, to put in 60, 70, 80-hour weeks, because it doesn't feel like that much effort. If you're not lining up your talents and it feels like a lot of effort, you're not likely to be able to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week without just being wiped. We hear these people in the study tell us that they love what they do. Again, their passions are engaged. They say, I never felt like I had a real job. Okay? So, what do we know? Scientifically, we've shown that the best have greater self-awareness and are more authentic to it. As a result, they achieve much greater performance, and they do so with less effort. We also have scientifically shown, basically, that the best, they get twice the performance with half the effort. So, back to the statement, it's just not really too good to be true. So why them? Why not you? I mean, why are they the ones who get to be so successful? What makes them special? How did they get this gift of self-awareness and authenticity? They weren't born with it. These two traits are developed. And they were working off the exact same natural talents that you have. There are things that you do naturally well with little effort, okay? Just like they do. The key is that they've developed a level of self-awareness for their natural talents, and you've got to do the same. So how do you learn to develop these two traits? Well, I'm going to tell you. To help with that, I've captured all the findings of this research and all of these interviews in a brand new book. But more about that later, because this isn't about the book right now. Right now, I just want to give you all the free content I can to show you just how you can develop these traits, starting tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And I guess before I do that, I should probably tell you more about who I am. I mean, why should you even listen to me? And this is a little awkward because I'm New England, Irish, Roman Catholic family, steeped in Catholicism and teaching you to be quiet and don't step up and toot your own horn too much. But I think it's important. I learned a long time ago that my greatest natural talents, what they were and what they were not for, and I was able to focus. Tony Robbins actually in 1992 was instrumental in helping me understand that. And I was able to then focus on what those talents were and figure out how to be true to them. And it's paid off. I started out digging ditches and waiting tables. I'd come home from a full day of digging ditches for a landscaping company, wash off the nasty red clay so I could put on my crisp, bright white shirt and go wait tables at night. And I did this to work my way through college to get 2 degrees. And I did so with wife and children at home. So I understood what those talents were, but aligning them up allowed me to work that hard, do the 2 jobs, then go to school full-time at night, 18 semester hours, 3 semesters, all year round. But it didn't feel like that much effort because I was lining up my natural talents in school. That part, the extra part where I was supposed to be sleeping, was a joy for me. That led to my founding of the company called Intermetrics, which is a consulting firm. And we've got 350 consultants and offices on 5 continents. And as a corporation, we've impacted the lives of over 400,000 individual clients with this same kind of information. So when I tell you what we're talking about here, I know it works. I know it works from a personal level because I've experienced it. But I know it works from a corporate level as well. Now, I know anything I say about this stuff is going to be biased, so let me tell you what my friends and partners and clients say about it. Tony Robbins will tell you that he's used the same information to great success and seen the exact same kind of benefits that I'm talking about here with his clients. I actually work with Tony on the clients that he works with and on his upcoming NBC primetime show called Breakthrough with Tony Robbins. He'll tell you the same thing. Tony Alessandro, another well-known expert in understanding peak performance and speaker and lecturer, he uses the same kind of profiles that we used to help understand self-awareness for his clients as well. Dr. Ivan Meisner can talk to you about how important self-awareness and authenticity are in removing any limitations that you have and unleashing the full abilities that you've got. Dr. Marshall Goldsmith has witnessed this himself, and we've utilized, I worked with Dr. Goldsmith to take his coaching methodology and integrate it in another startup company I've worked with to found, where we use this same level of self-awareness and authenticity to help people develop themselves better. Michael Lorelli can actually attest to it himself as a person who's taken the profile, former president of PepsiCo and Pizza Hut, as I mentioned earlier, and he'll tell you exactly how it works from his own personal perspective as well. So, there's a lot more coming on the book. Still putting the finishing touches on it, and the final launch information will come out in another couple of days. But while I'm doing that, I want to give you a ton of free content so you can see for yourself how well it works in the meantime. Until I get back to you in the next video, where I'll tell you more about the different ways you can learn from these hyper-successful people and drastically improve your own lives, I want to leave you with the link that you can go and get all of these kind of free things. Okay? Free things like educational videos. You'll be able to take the Genius Profile, the exact same one we used in the study to measure the natural talents of the 197,000 people and all of those people I interviewed, like Tony and Marshall and Michael. There's free exercises and activities up here as well on the site that I'm about to send you to. So I want to give this all to you because it's going to help you achieve the level of self-awareness that you need. It's going to help you learn what your natural talents are. You're going to help learn, understand how to be true to them. It's going to help you achieve the performance you want and ideally feel more fulfilled, satisfied, and happy with what you do and how you do it. Basically, I want to be able to give you everything you need to start achieving twice the performance with half the effort. And hey, you know, as I see it, it's all free, so what the heck? In the name of full disclosure, yes, obviously I'm hoping that you find this information interesting and decide to buy a book somewhere down the road. But I'm just going to give you everything right up front anyway. The way I see it, if I give you everything and you like what you get, eventually maybe you'll buy the book. But the big objective is to help more than the 400,000, a lot more, achieve that same level of self-awareness and authenticity. So, this has been Jay Niblick. I look forward to seeing you on the other side of this page. Thanks.